In this session, we are learning about introduction to computers. So guys, you already know that computers is an electronic machine. So it's an electronic machine which performs the task whatever we are giving. Okay, so we generally call computers as an electronic machine that can store, recall and process data. It can perform the task and it can complex calculations according to the set of instructions or a programs. So computer means like it will never give you anything until you give some input to it. Okay, so you have a input, you have a output. So always remember, in between input and output you have one word called processing. So you have one word called processing. Okay, so computer takes something as an input, it will process and it gives you the output. Okay, so computer itself, it will not take something, computer itself, it will not give you something, computer itself, it will not do anything. Okay, so it will follow all the instructions whichever is giving by a person who are sitting in a computer, who are sitting in front of computer and who are working. Okay, so whatever the person is doing in front of a computer, so he gives a input, then computer takes a output. So if a person is doing something, it processes something and it gives you the output according to a person who is giving the instructions to a computer. So for example, it may be like you or it may be me. Like if I'm giving some instruction to a computer, it follows all the instructions which is given from me. Accordingly, it will process the data and accordingly it gives the output also. So that is why we call the definition of a computer as a electronic machine. Okay, so it is an electronic machine. You can just read the definition again. It is an electronic machine that can store, recall, process data. It can perform the task or complex calculations according to a set of instructions or a programs. So we cannot change the definition, but the meaning will be same. You can modify the meaning as per your own, but the definitions will be same everywhere. Okay. So every computer will follow certain functions. So it will follow certain functions as I already told you now. So it will follow certain functions whatever the person is doing in front of computer. Okay, so as I gave you the example also, like I'm a person who are sitting in front of a computer and I'm giving some instructions. It takes the instructions given from me. Okay, the first thing is like it will accept the data or a program as an input. Second thing, it stores the data, it stores the program, whichever is required. Third thing is that it processes the data step by step as per instruction given by a programmer, and it will convert it for a useful information. Finally, you will be getting the output. Okay, so accepts the data and programs as an input, stores the data program and retrieves as and when required, process the data as per instructions given by the program and convert it into a useful information, communicate the information as an output. So these are the some functional components which every computer will follow. So you have a classifications of computers. Like classifications is nothing about, it's a formation of a computer. You can also call as a formation of a computer step by step. So in a earlier days, like 30 years, 40 years before and all, like there was no computers in a smaller in a size or like capability of a computer, everything, it was a difference. There was so much of difference from one computer to another computer. And today, no, in today's generation, we all are using a smartphones, we all are using a laptops, we all are using a mini laptops, we are using like in a laptops only. Say for example, in the laptops only you have so many formations in the laptop. Okay, so in the same way, you talk about the computers, you have so many formations in the computers. So at the time when computers got introduced, like at the time of computers got introduced, you were having so many computers like mini computers, micro computers, mainframe computers, super computers, like this. Okay, so each computers are having a very you like capability, so much of capability, it will acquire so much of capability. It has like its own capability which performs the task. Okay, so talking about a microcomputer, so if I want to talk about a microcomputer, so microcomputers, like it was introduced in a 1970. So we call this microcomputer as a personal computer also. So like nowadays, no, like we call PC. So PC means what? It's a personal computer which we use at home, which we use at office also. Okay, so this PC earlier days it was called as a microcomputers, and it was introduced in the year 1970. The number of processors in microcomputers will be one or two processors only. So it contains input devices, output devices, storage devices, and processor. Yeah, of course, all the computers contains input device, output device, and storage device and processors. Nowadays, also every computer it should have these devices. If these devices are not there, then it cannot be called as a computers. So you should have these devices. Okay, so every computer contains this kind of devices. It's not only microcomputer, even a mainframe computer, supercomputer, as well as like mini computers also will be having this kind of devices, but not much. You'll be having a capability. I told you, no, the capacity of the computer, it may be more, it may be less. Okay, but they will be containing some of these devices. So the number of processors will be one or two. It is used by one person at a time. For example, it may be desktop, it may be laptops, it may be notebooks, it may be tablets, or it may be any other smartphones also. So uses of microcomputer, where it is used. So these are used as a desktops either in office or even in home also. So we use this one at home also, we use this one at office also, because these are all personal computers. Okay. So even it is used by children also for playing a games or for watching the movies. So like even for social medias also. So nowadays, no, like children are sitting at home, they're learning with different web browsers. So they're learning with different web browsers, and they're also using like these computers for online training also nowadays. So in earlier days also, children also were using these computers, like youngers also were using these computers, as well as the professionals also were using these computers for their requirement. So they are very cheap and user friendly. So the next computer is mini computers. So mini computers were introduced in the year 1960. So mini computers are larger and more powerful than personal computer. So it can execute 5 million instructions per second. It generally consists of two or more processors. So whereas like I explained, you know, like microcomputer, one or more processor, if you observe that. But here in the mini computer, it is two or more like processors will be stored. So many computers can serve up to 4,000 connected users simultaneously. So it is normally accessed by users via personal computer or terminal. Terminal is a device. It is just an electronic device which has a monitor and a keyboard together. So device with a monitor and a keyboard together. I told you, no, it is a electronic device which will be having a monitor and a keyboard together. So it is also known as a thumb terminal. So for example, it may be like Digital Alpha, VAX 800 or AS 400. So these mini computers are used by small and like medium sized computers, small and medium sized companies to provide centralized store of information. The next computer is mainframe computers. So mainframe computers were introduced in 1975. It is very larger in size. It is very larger in size. Why? Because no, like in earlier days, if you see about the computers and all, the computer size was very larger. Like for a simple example, if I want to tell you, no, so now we all know the RAM, like we know the RAM. So we can see the size of the RAM is very small. It may be any GB. It may be like say 4 GB RAM. It may be 16 GB RAM, or it may be a 32 GB RAM also. So the size of the RAM is very small in nowadays. So when you see the earlier days, no, when the computers were introduced, see the size of the RAM. You see the size of the RAM, it is very bigger in a size. So same way, these types of computers like mainframe computers also, no, it is very larger in a size actually. Okay. It is more powerful than mini computers and consists of multiple processors. It is designed to perform multiple tasks for multiple users at the same time. So you can do multiple tasks for multiple users. So multiple users can, like 3-4 people can use at the same time for multiple tasks. So it also executes like 16 million instructions per second. So users of mainframe computers will be like for a large organizations. So any large organizations can be used by a mainframe. Why? Because no, large organization people, no, they will be doing a multiple tasks. Multiple tasks will be done from a multiple people at the same time. So large organization people, they will be working more. The work pressure will be more there. So their task and their work will be more. So in those kind of places, no, like where you have a, so much of work and where you have more large, like see large organization, like for example, if I want to tell you about a large organization, it may be like IT companies. If you talk about nowadays IT companies and all, no, you have so much of work pressure there. So it is not like a work pressure, you will be having so much of work there. So like where a 10 people work will be given to one person, so 10 people's work the one person will be sitting and doing that. So same way, like the one person can manage all the 10 people work, not alone, with the help of some applications, it may be with the help of some computers and all. Okay, so now you have so many applications, so many softwares are there. So you have a Java language, you have a Python language, you have a big data language, you have a data analytics. So nowadays you have a data science, which is very booming. Okay, so like this you have so many applications where to improve your organization, to improve your business also. Okay, so this kind of organization, this kind of business where we are using this kind of applications and all, no, these applications and all, it was used in earlier days also. So those applications which you are using simultaneously, all the 2 or 3 applications if you are using simultaneously, so these applications can be handled by a multiple people simultaneously. So it is also called as a multiple task also. So all this work they can do with the help of these mainframe computers. They have a large storage capacity. They can use wide variety of softwares. I told you about a software, no, just now. So applications, I told as applications. Okay, so softwares, like I told you, I gave you some examples of a softwares also, like Java language or Python language or data analytics or data science. So these are all like few softwares where which helps you to give more like a capacity, or it will also help you to increase your business also. It is like a wide variety actually. So you call it as like Windows, you have a Windows, you have a Linux. So like this, so like this you can use many things in this mainframe computers, and it is mostly used for a mathematical calculations. So next you have a supercomputers. The last fourth type computer is a supercomputer. So supercomputers were introduced in 1980. So supercomputer is a fastest computer. So supercomputer is the biggest in a size. Like you know, it is a very bigger in a size also, and the most expensive in a price of any other computer. So in earlier days, any other computer is nothing but like mini computer, micro computer. Okay, so like supercomputer. So this is a supercomputer. No, compared to all the 3 computers, this is very bigger in a size as well as it is very expensive also. So supercomputers is the most sophisticated and complex and advanced computer. So it is very large storage capacity. It has a very large storage capacity also. And you can observe here, it can process trillions of instructions. So all the 3 which I explained you just now, so mini computer, microcomputer, and mainframe computers, which I explained you just now, all the 3, no, it will just give you millions of instructions only. But you can observe here, no, supercomputer, it is giving a trillions of instructions. So supercomputers are used for highly calculations intensive tasks. Example also I have given here, like IBM Roadrunner, IBM Blue Gain. Okay, so supercomputers are used mainly for weather forecasting. It is used for animated graphics like Hollywood movies. It is also used for nuclear energy research. It is also used for weapons and missile design. It is also used for petroleum exploration, etc. So input output memory device. The next topic is about input output memory device. So I explained you in the beginning itself. So input device and output device. So input in between, like input and output, I told you like you will be having a one word called processor. So that processor helps you to give a output. It takes a input, it will process something and it gives a output. So that is different. Okay. So here you have a input device and you have a output device. So devices where it is required for every computer. I explained you know like the previously also I explained you every computer will be having a input and output devices. So now we are going to study about an input device. So input device is used to feed data into computer. Input devices are capable of converting a data into a form which can be recognized by a computer. So you have a several types of input devices. It may be keyboard, mouse, trackball, joystick, scanner, light pen, barcode reader, OCR, OMR, MICR, etc. You can also call QR codes also nowadays, barcode reader. Okay. So the device, these devices, no, it is used to accept the data and instructions from the user. It is called as input device. User is nothing about a person who is working with the system. So a person, it may be you or it may be me as an individual. So if I am using a computer, it will take all my instructions, it accepts all the data, it will process everything and it gives me the output with the help of these devices. The first input device is a keyboard. So the most common input device we can call it as, okay. So keyboard, it is used to enter both numerical and characters. It is like a mechanical typewriter with alphanumeric and special keys. You have a punctuation keys, you have a functional keys to perform something specific. The keyboard contains 101 keys or it also contains 104 keys. The keyboard detects the key pressed and generates the corresponding ACICC codes which can be recognized by a computer. So you have a types of keyboards also. You have a standard keyboard, you have a ergonomic keyboard, you have a wireless keyboard, you have a virtual keyboard, you have a compact keyboard. So these are the types of keyboards it is available. The next most input device is mouse. So mouse is an input device that controls the movement of a cursor on the display of the screen. So this mouse, it stands for mechanically operated user serial engine. The mouse is used as a pointing device. So you have two types of mouses here, mechanical and optical. So mechanical mouse, this mouse has a smaller rubber ball underneath that, like it is a small, like generally no, like mouse means we will be having a very small and you will be having a cursor on it. So wherever you move, it will move on that cursor. You can also call as a rubber ball, you can also call as a rollers. So next is optical. Optical mouse means it is like, it will be like accurate and you will not be having any moving parts into that. So next you have a joystick. Joystick is an input device consisting of a stick that pivots the base and reports its angle, like it reports its angle or direction to the device it is controlling for. The joystick can be moved in all the four directions. The functions of the joystick is similar to that of the mouse. So it is mainly used in playing a computer games. So joysticks are also used for controlling machines such as cranes. Cranes, tracks, underwater unmanned vehicles, surveillance of cameras and like zero turning radius, lawns and movers. So next is a scanner. Scanner is an input device which works more like a photocopy machine. Photocopy machine is nothing about like you required something, like you have a like image with you. You may have any of the copy with you, and you want a same copy to be taken twice or thrice. So you can scan it and you can take it. Then like say for example, so you all know that you'll be having your ID cards, like you may have like your PAN card, it may be, or your driving license, it may be, or anything. So if someone asks you to give your like license, or like it may be like any ID card or any driving license, if someone is asking you to give, so how you will give? You will take it as Xerox and you will give it. So Xerox is a Xerox machine. In the same way, you will be having a scanner machine also. So like a scanner machine means it will scan something the same similar way, and it gives the duplicate copy of your ID cards or driving license, anything. It may be anything that you are going to give, no? It gives a duplicate of that same copy. It is used when some information is available on a paper and it is used to transfer to the computer for the manipulation. Just now I told you, no, it gives a duplication of your copies, whatever you are going to scan. So here I have given in the third point. The scanner captures image from the source, which are then converted into a digital form. So next is OMR. So OMR is nothing about optical mark reading and recognition. So optical mark reading reader is a device that reads pencil marks and converts them into a computer processable form. Special pre-printed forms are designed with boxes which can be marked with a dark pencil or a ink. So for simple example, I'll tell you, this OMR is nothing about like if you are writing any exams and all, say like you might have been written your CET exams or MSET exams and all. So in that you will be having the OMR sheets only to give the answers and all. So you'll be having a OMR sheets. In that OMR sheet, you can observe like you'll be having a 4 small boxes, and where you have to tick mark in that boxes just for correction. Like say like you have a question and which is a right answer, you will be tick marking for that right answer. Okay, so it may be like a pencil, or it may be like a ink pen, or it may be any pen. You're going to tick mark it, or you're going to mark it. So with that box, the entire box or entire dot box, or it may be any box it is given in that sheet, no, you're going to mark it. Okay, so this is called as a OMR. Okay, so it is a OCR. The next is OCR. So the main use of this device is to recognize alphabetic and numeric character printed on the paper. So the OCR technique permits the direct reading of any printed character without any special ink. With OCR, a user can scan a page from a book. So you can scan a page from a book. Yeah, you can scan it. Why? Because now when you want to scan something, like you want to scan your textbooks, or you want to scan your files or anything, if you want to scan, no, it will not scan directly. It will recognize the alphabet separately, it will recognize your numerical separately, and it will allow you which one you required. Again, based on your instruction, it will scan and it gives you the file. Okay, so you have one special application of this one is like this OCRs are used in applications such as credit card billing and reading of a pin code numbers in large post office to a short mail geographically. So remember these points and all. So magnetic ink character recognition, MICR. MICR is a form of character recognition that reads the text printed with the magnetic charged ink. So the shapes of the characters by sensing the magnetic charge in the ink and translates these shapes into a computer processed format. MICR is widely used by banks. So how it is used by banks? You have your checkbooks with you. Correct? No, you have a debit card, credit card with you. So mainly the checkbooks. The checkbooks can be read using a special input unit. which recognition magnetic ink characters, like no, like you'll be having some small characters on the checkbook. So it will be having some barcodes also, you'll be having some very small characters also, like those things and all, no, those things and all, it can be easily recognized, and it can be easily like it gives the data and it gives the output easily with the help of this MICR device. So this method eliminates the manual errors. Automatically it will eliminate the manual errors, and it will give a security and accuracy of the data. So yeah, see, just read like third point. So check can be read using a specific unit, like a special unit input device. Like this, I told you, no, like I told you, no, this MICR. MICR is a special unit. It's a special input unit which recognizes the magnetic ink characters. So which will be available only on the checks. So you have some more topics in the introduction to computers that can be learned in the next session.